let's see if I can get this to share for us. Okay. And it looks like it's working there. I'm not sure if the audio is working, but this right here. So what I've been trying to do on StreamYard was just do a basic little video here, and I don't know what the deal was, but spaceweather.com. Take a look at this. First of all, let me back up. This is Oliver. I'm in a studio. I'm in a bunker I call Studio 72. And we are under some geomagnetic storm watch here. A CME is heading straight for Earth. See below, there's NASA and NOAA models agree that it will strike on Earth on June 1st, which that's in an hour on West Coast. It's been a couple of hours already on the East Coast. So the impact could spark a severe G4 class. I've heard some discussion, possibly briefly, a G5, which is a pretty big deal. And so this is probably one of the better websites. It's one of my go-to. It says that this won't be as big as the famous May 2024 storm. That was last year. That one physically harmed me. I mean, I already had some kidney issues and whatever else, this inflammation of the joints. I got arthritis in the blood and blah, blah, blah. But I think that electromagnetic energy, it took me out. I was actually down on and off for weeks last year, right at that time. So let's hope none of that happens for me. But the one thing that I always like to tell people is, and I repeat it and state it over and over again, is that these electromagnetic energies, they affect people's brains. It's just like that theory of the hypothesis of a full moon, right? Full moon, high tides, our bodies are mostly water. Our brain has got water. In these electromagnetic things, it triggers people. It makes them do things they wouldn't normally do. Kind of like, zombies. All of a sudden, they're walking zombies and doing things, committing crimes, shooting each other up and maybe themselves. There's dark stuff all around. Now, granted, we're in a dark place in America ever since this intentional staging of the COVID situation. It's been dark, but so, I mean, we had a bunch of teens shooting each other out on the Sandy River out there in the park out by Troutdale last night. I just read that. And so there was a couple different shootings. And then this last weekend, there was several shootings all across the country. So granted, we've got people that are not doing well. What this is another layer on top of their pre-existing mental health conditions. What's interesting here, if you look at this, is you can see these orange filaments blinking down and around. They're coming around in this huge, massive area that's beyond just a little pocket. This, I would suspect, I'm not an expert, not a scientist, but when I see that, that tells me there's more to come here. This is not going to be a one-off where we've got this intense situation of flare and the CME coming in. I think there's more. The explosion lasted more than 3 hours. 3 hours. I'll hit this under the curve. So this is evidence of the 3 hour. You can see. So this is pew, 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 pew. This is how it normally, little spikes and flares and activity. Well, this goes up and like a mountain, it's rounded and down for hours and hours and hours. And it's still crackling and firing. It ain't done yet. We can see that clear from the data. This one here, this link should be in the notes. Please take a look at it. I keep this website on my browser open no matter what. And I always go and check and drop into it. It's one of those, just like the latest earthquakes. I have it open. I have it up. At least, click on it. I believe they're calling the halo effect is that ring. If you can see my pointer there on the mouse pointer, but that's what they're calling a halo. And so let's go back here. some of the data is just mind-boggling. This is a very fast-moving CME. Type 2 radio emissions from shock waves within the cloud suggest it is traveling 1,938 kilometers a second, or 4.3 million miles per hour. It's, repeat, traveling almost 2,000 kilometers a second. A normal average high would be 700 kilometers a second, which is what it is right now. But this, when it came out, 2,000, almost 2,000 kilometers a second. That's a massive intensity. It created blackouts. They're comparing it to last year's X flares. There was a series of X flares last year in May. So it's a big deal. And it makes it very dangerous for people that are out partying on a Saturday night. I can tell you right now, I always like to say you don't have to be a psychic gypsy palm reader, but to predict some of this stuff, which I just think sounds funny, but it is true, because just like a full moon, like I'm repeating myself, the full moon, the ERs get flooded. Police will tell you that the crime spikes on full moons. It's that electromagnetic energy. However that type of magic works or doesn't work, it's the same hypothesis and concept for this solar flare. Now, speaking of mental health issues, this right here is NeuroLaunch. I put this link in there, or if it isn't, I'll drop it in. This is ketamine infusion therapy. Now, they're trying to smear Elon, which it sounds like a disgruntled, angry baby mama who's fighting custody over one of Elon's hundreds and hundreds of children with dozens and dozens of beautiful women. But they're hassling and smearing him. Somebody leaked the New York Times and said, trying to smear him as a drug addict, right? Well, that helps when you're trying to fight for custody. That happened to me. She came in and said all kinds of crazy shit. And the judge was like, is that true? And I'm like, no, that's crazy stuff. And so, but they do that. It's what they do. Disgruntled women can be pretty savage. That's my hunch on what is going down with that New York Times leak. But there's nothing dangerous about ketamine. This infusion therapy, this link right here will go into great detail of some of the magic of ketamine. It's been used. It's being more, they're doing it's just more widespread. Before it was kind of tabooed, and now it's actually becoming more mainstream. And it's each one of these little highlighted blue things. These are all these links you can click on, and I encourage you to take a look at it. We shouldn't be attacking Elon or attacking anyone with the stigma of mental health when they're being proactive in trying to prevent dark times for dark people and doing dark things to themselves and to people around them. That's happening across the country. I would suggest that ketamine, and also with that New York Times smear was saying cubensis. Cubensis psilocybin is wonderful therapy, neuroplasticity. And there's a couple of these links in this article go into that. I'm not going to do a deep dive on it just because I just don't think it's necessary to do that. It's not really my focus. What I wanted to do was just to kind of come in and I actually wanted to see if I could get StreamYard to work, because I had problems with it a couple months ago, and I don't know what it is, but the audio, the cameras, blah, 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 it's just not jiving right. Still not jiving right. So this is just straight through YouTube, and I'll see if this one works. It should work. Hopefully the audio, you can hear me. Just had 2 strikeouts on StreamYard. It won't roll. So I think we're going to see more shooting out of this sun than what we've got. But what we've got coming right now and for the next day or two is pretty intense. Pretty intense. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful of who you surround yourself with, where you're going. That's pretty standard no matter what. But When I see this type of level of electromagnetic impulse, CMEs, mass ejections coming towards us, this is going to trigger people in very, very unhealthy ways. I can predict it now. We're going to be reading about it in the news. I've even been hearing sirens this last hour as I've been trying to get StreamYard to work right here in my neighborhood. So I know it's going down. I know it's active. We had a whole bunch of massacre out at Sandy River last night. So I don't know what the kids are doing, but it's not healthy. And it's going to affect their lives forever. So be careful out there. And I hope that that came through. If not, I tried once again. Peace out. God bless.